everyone, welcome back. Today's video is all about how to make 10K a month from trading, so we'll dive right into it. So in order to reach any specific financial goal when trading, it's important to look at the numbers to start. So let's break down what this will look like. If you're aiming to make $10,000 a month from trading, you'll need to have a weekly goal of $2,500. And with there being 5 trading days in a week, you'll need to have a daily goal of $500. Now, in regard to the initial capital that'll be needed, it can typically fall within the range of $3,000 to $5,000. So what this really means is that it takes money to make money. So being all the way real, y'all, on average, if you're options trading and you have a realistic goal to make 10K a month, you definitely will need at least 3 to 5K to reach that goal because you'll need to purchase multiple contracts at one time. Now, everyone may not be able to afford that set aside amount for the initial capital, so I definitely want to provide an alternative. You can see on the right side of the screen, I have a similar breakdown of how you can make $1,000 a month. In order to meet this goal, the same factors apply in terms of strategy, but the numbers are a bit smaller for those who may have that limited capital investment. So you need to make $250 a week and $50 daily with an initial capital of $300 to $500 to earn that $1,000 a month. Now, either way, one of the first steps in this process is buying premiums with a smaller DTE because this allows for more contracts to be purchased at one time, simply because premiums are generally less expensive with a smaller time frame of expiration. So in turn, this allows investors to leverage and utilize more cost-effective strategies when trading. Now, the next important step is to analyze the market for volatile and high momentum stocks and ETFs. Reason being is because buying more volatile stocks can lead to higher profits due to the larger price movements. So it's kind of like the old adage, higher risk, higher reward. But it's important to develop a sound risk management strategy, especially with the goal in mind of making 10K a month. Now, on the bottom left of the screen, you see I have the stock price changes for the most popular US tech companies. And this data is from Q1 of this year as a comparison to the growth over the past 12 months. So we see Nvidia, for example, has grown 239%, and Meta has reached 194% of growth. We also see Tesla, Amazon, and so on. Now, the reason I want to highlight these stocks is because these are the ones that move the market. The volatility and frequency of the price changes in these stocks, it helps to generate significantly more income because, again, the momentum is there and the volume is always pretty high for these stocks. So when I develop my watch list for the week, at least 3 to 4 of these stocks are in rotation on the list just based on the anticipated volatility. Now, with that in mind, as mentioned, risk management is essential when seeking to make $10,000 a month in trading. So it's always recommended to define your risk tolerance through setting predetermined stop losses. And I made a previous video discussing how to set trail stops and stop losses, so I'll leave that linked in the description. But it's always recommended to do so. And another good tip is to spread your options positions across various sectors. That's, of course, if you're comfortable in doing so. So that you pretty much will avoid being overexposed to any one asset class. So this is when position sizing comes into play. For me, risking anywhere from 10 to 15% on a trade is a good maximum for my risk tolerance. But I know some investors have a range of 10 to 25%. So it's all about what you feel is beneficial for your own personal strategy. It is worth noting that to make 10K a month, you certainly will need to monitor specific stocks that play into your strategy and only make plays for high probability trades consistently. So if the trade is not going to be high probability, there's no need to even enter it because, again, you're ultimately trying to reach that 10K a month goal. Now, of course, I want to provide an example of how to manage your risks just to put everything into perspective. So with this example, if we're starting with $2,000 of initial capital and you set your risk tolerance to 10%, you'll only be risking losing $200 on a trade. So let's say you buy an option contract for $150 and the share price is $50 with a 0.50 delta. Because the cost of the contract is $150, this falls under the range of the set risk tolerance level. So if there was to be a rise in the stock's price to $70, the intrinsic value would be $20 per share because you'll be subtracting $70 from the $50, and as a result, the total value of the contract would be $1,150. And when you subtract the initial cost of the contract, that leaves the total profits at $1,000. So imagine just doing this 9 more times for the month and you'll have 10K. Or you can buy more option contracts at one time and strategize the numbers that way as well. But if the trade doesn't go in your favor and it goes against you, let's say the stock falls from $50 to $40, the option then becomes worthless and there would be a loss of $150. However, this still falls under the 10% risk tolerance for $200, so it wouldn't necessarily be a huge L to take. Now, keeping in mind the monthly price target, because there are various ways to do this, you'll need to consider the option premiums you want to purchase and whether or not you'll swing trade any contracts or stick to day trading. Or you may decide to do both and maximize profits that way. And honestly, both are an effective means to get the same result. So when you consider all the factors involved, as long as you're choosing quality setups, you can still maintain your results and just build upon your capital. So now that we have the comprehensive understanding, let's discuss the main element to reach that 10K a month goal. Okay, so the most important and primary means to secure 10K a month from trading is to learn and master chart patterns, y'all. Now, this is not the easy part because there are so many different types of chart patterns, but y'all, I can't stress it enough how important it is to learn how to read the charts. It's so important. So my best suggestion is to learn a couple of them at a time. So this means you'll need to study the charts and look for familiar patterns. So for instance, you may want to look for the 2 easiest patterns to spot on a chart, which are the double top and the double bottom, simply because the double bottom looks like a capital W and the double top looks like a capital M. So these are the easiest to pinpoint on any chart. So once you see them, it becomes blatantly obvious. So let's say after some time, you fully understand and you can single out these 2 patterns, you may want to then move on to learning how to spot a bullish wedge or a bearish pennant. And then once you master those 2, you move on to 2 others and so on and so forth until you've learned at least 5 to 7 without having to search them or second guess yourself. And with this, you'll also understand the function of how the patterns are either going to serve as a signal for a continuation or a reversal. And let me just pause real quick to break down what this means. It may be a bit self-explanatory, but a continuation is simply signifying that the stock will continue to move in the same direction of the pattern that it started with. So for example, when looking at the bullish pennant or the bull flag, you see the stock started in an uptrend, and after forming the pennant and the flag, the stock then continues to move upwards in the trend. Now, a reversal signifies that the stock will move in the opposite direction. So for instance, if we take a look at the inverted HNS, we see that the stock started in a downtrend. After forming the inversion, the stock rose up and continued to increase in an uptrend. I'm telling y'all, once you learn how to read the charts, it'll boost your confidence in trading, and reaching a $10,000 a month goal will be super simple for you. And it may even be a bit modest after a while, and you can supersede this goal. But again, adjust and modify the numbers if you need to. You may have to start with a smaller goal just to build your account, and that's completely fine. Oh, and real quick, I do want to mention, once you see these patterns on the chart, this is how you gain your first level of confirmation. From there, you then add your technical indicators that back and validate your initial evaluation of the charts. So you can add the SMAs, the EMAs. It's basically like you have full knowledge of the anticipated direction, and then you add the secondary means to confirm what you see using the indicators. So yeah, all in all, just tailor your strategies to align with market conditions based on your portfolio to eventually reach that 10K a month. And if y'all want me to go in more detail with these steps and my overall strategies, I can do that and further break down these patterns if needed. And with that, that'll pretty much do it for this video. If you found this information to be helpful, as always, feel free to leave a comment down below. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.